newspaper. By the time your clarification gets approved for publishing, it will be too late. Just as the tension reached its peak, a clear voice cut in. "Commander, Chloe, I have a solution." Chloe turned to see Julian and her face immediately hardened. "This is a restricted military area. How did you get in?" "Sis, I brought Julian in," Ashley said. "Ashley told me what happened, and I was worried about you," Julian added. "What is this solution you mentioned?" "Marry me. Once we hold the wedding, everyone will know the truth." "Impossible," Chloe stated flatly. "Chloe, I just want to help you through this crisis. The rumors out there are so ugly. What if the organization finds out and accuses you of improper relationships?" Chloe hesitated, her resolve wavering. Julian pressed his advantage. "As for Ethan, he's in DC now. Who there knows him or would gossip to him? The most urgent thing is to save your reputation. Washington, DC, the Mason residence." I walked into my father's study holding a newspaper, only to find Sophia Vance was also there. "Ethan, what's wrong?" I glanced at Sophia and said, "It's nothing, Dad." "Secretary Vance, please continue your work." "Ethan, is this about the newspaper?" Sophia asked. I lowered my eyes and nodded. I had thought that leaving the Andersons meant Chloe and Julian would leave me alone, but I never expected them to resort to such a despicable method to slander me. My father spoke up. "Sophia found out about this and solved it immediately. She was just briefing me." "Do you want to hear?" I was stunned. "Solve? Don't worry," Sophia said. "I've already found the journalist who wrote the article. He confessed who was behind it, and also told me about an old incident." I looked at her, curious. "Back then, you rushed into the fire to save the Anderson sisters, but Julian Croft stole the credit." My eyes widened in disbelief. "This was all premeditated by Julian, wasn't it? All these years, you've suffered." Sophia's gentle words made my eyes well up. For the first time, I spoke with such grievance. But they never believed me. My father and Sophia looked at me with deep sympathy. "Don't be afraid, Ethan. From now on, Dad and Sophia are here. We will never let you be wronged again. As for that Julian Croft, I've already had him arrested." Upon receiving the order from his superior, the local police chief immediately dispatched officers. 2 police cars drove into the Southwest Military Region compound. In the commander's office, Julian was still waiting for Chloe's answer. Just as Chloe was about to nod in agreement, a sharp knock sounded at the door. Police officers filed in and walked up to Julian. "Julian Croft, you are suspected of libel and spreading rumors through the press. Please come with us to the station to cooperate with the investigation." Julian's legs went weak, and he nearly collapsed. He stammered in a panic, "I didn't. How could I slander anyone? I didn't write the report. What does it have to do with me? I'm the victim." Chloe was bewildered but still instinctively defended Julian. "Officers, there must be some misunderstanding." "Yeah, how could Julian do something like that?" Ashley added. "Lieutenant Anderson, we are aware of your close relationship with Julian Croft, but please do not let your personal feelings interfere with official business." "Officer, what kind of attitude is that? Am I not even allowed to raise a reasonable question?" "Lieutenant, if you don't believe us, then listen to the testimony yourself." 2 officers brought in a thin man. Chloe recognized him with a start. "Journalist Miller." Miller dropped to his knees with a thud. "Lieutenant Anderson, I'll confess everything. Please, don't execute me. Julian Croft made me write that report. He gave me $5 and told me to do everything I could to tarnish your reputation, to spread the mud evenly, so he could find an opportunity to marry you. And that story about him saving you from the fire, he paid me to write that too. It was fake news." The world went dark for Chloe. She lunged forward and grabbed Miller by the collar. "What did you say? The person who saved you and your sister that day was actually Ethan Mason. Julian Croft orchestrated the whole thing to steal his credit and get close to you." "No, Chloe, this scum is slandering me. You can't listen to him." A sharp pain shot through Chloe's temples. She seemed to recall the scene from that day. Amidst the roaring flames, a figure had run towards her without hesitation. She could finally see the face clearly. It was Ethan. "Chloe, hold on. I won't let you die." I had struggled to drag her and Ashley out of the restaurant, only collapsing beside her after we were safe. Chloe's eyes burned red as if scorched by fire. She rushed over and slapped Julian across the face. "You scum! How dare you lie to me?" Julian clutched his stinging cheek, his face a mixture of shock and grievance. "Chloe, you hit me? You're going to doubt me based on his words alone." Chloe was trembling with rage. "You're the one who drove Ethan away. You deliberately set him up to make me misunderstand him. It was all you." Julian's eyes also turned red. "Chloe, even if I did frame him, don't you forget that you two were the ones who hurt Ethan. Now you're trying to act all innocent? You're the real culprits." Chloe's body went rigid. It was true. It was their distrust and lack of appreciation for Ethan that had caused him to leave so decisively. Chloe turned to the commander. "Commander, I request a week's leave. I need to go to Washington, D.C. I have to go to Ethan right now, to tell him in person that I'm sorry, and to finally say the I love you that I've owed him for years." As I was leaving the Georgetown University Library, I ran right into Sophia Vance, who was walking towards me. "Hello, Secretary Vance." "Ethan, you can just call me Sophia. I looked at my closest childhood friend, who had grown into a tall, stunning woman while I was away. Meanwhile, I felt that the 5 wasted years had pushed me further and further from her. I suppressed the feeling of inferiority in my heart and quietly said, "That wouldn't be appropriate." We walked in silence through the snow. As we passed 2 snowmen, I couldn't help but stop. "Want to play?" Sophia asked. I shook my head instinctively. For the past 5 years, I was always busy. There were so many things to manage inside and outside the Anderson house. Over time, I had forgotten how to have fun. But even so, Chloe and Ashley only ever found me boring, good for nothing but chores. "It's fine. If Director Mason asks, I'll cover for you. Don't be afraid." The warmth from her palms startled me, and a warmth spread through my chest. Like 7 or 8-year-old kids, we pulled buttons off our coats to use as eyes for the snowman, laughing heartily at the comical result. By the time we got home, my father had already eaten dinner. Seeing our disheveled state, he asked, "Did you two get robbed?" Sophia and I exchanged a look, and I laughed. Dad, Secretary Vance, and I were building a snowman. My father poured us hot tea to warm us up. "You, young lady, couldn't you have taken Ethan to do something more refined? I thought you two were still little kids running around. You're one to talk. What about last year when you had a snowball fight with the young soldiers and threw out your back?" Sophia retorted playfully. Sophia knew when to quit and turned to me. "Will you go to the movies with me tomorrow?" My eyes lit up, and I nodded gently. "Okay." Sophia stayed for dinner at my house before leaving, and I walked her to the door. "Goodbye, Sophia. See you tomorrow," she corrected. "Sweet dreams, Ethan." Our little exchange was witnessed by my father. As soon as I closed the door, he eagerly asked, "Ethan, what do you think of Sophia?" I felt a little shy. "She's really nice." My father clapped my shoulder. "She never gave up looking for you all these years. Every time one of the men in her unit asked her out, she'd say her heart was already taken. I can tell, Sophia genuinely cares for you." My heart skipped a beat. Sophia was such a good person. How could I ever have forgotten her? The next day, I got ready early and waited for her at the door. "Ethan." I looked up. Sophia wasn't in her uniform today. She wore a dress under a black overcoat that made her look even more beautiful. Sophia looked at me intently. "You look very handsome today." I gave a small smile. "This is my first time going to the movies, so I thought I should dress up a bit." "Well, then I have the movie to thank." I felt my face grow warm, and my gaze softened. Before I could say anything else, a clear voice interrupted. "Ethan, I finally found you." Chloe strode over, her eyes filled with astonishment as she looked at me. "Ethan, it's only been a few days, but you've changed so much." I coolly sidestepped her outstretched hand and said nothing. My cold attitude stung Chloe. "Ethan, I'm here to take you home." "Are you delusional, Lieutenant?" Sophia cut in. "This is Ethan's real home." Chloe looked at our joined hands, her own fists clenched in jealousy. "Comrade Vance, men and women should maintain a proper distance. Let go of Ethan." "Lieutenant Anderson, this is a new era. Don't use your outdated ideas to restrict Ethan's social life." I patted Sophia's hand and stepped out from behind her. Seeing me willingly approach her, Chloe was overjoyed. "Ethan, I knew you couldn't bear to leave me. I know all about Julian's evil deeds. Don't worry, I'll get justice for you." Listening to her self-righteous words, I found it laughable. Even now, she was pushing all the blame onto Julian, clearly not realizing her own mistakes. "Chloe, I made myself very clear that day. It's long over between us. I have nothing to do with you anymore. Please don't come and disturb my life." "Ethan, I know I was wrong. Can't you give me one chance to make it right? I promise I'll be good to you from now on. If you're willing, I'll submit the marriage application immediately. From now on, I'll love you with all my heart." "Chloe, I don't care about any of that. You can save it for Julian." "Ethan, why? You weren't like this before." I looked at her in silence. She was right. I wasn't like this before. Before, I would only obey Chloe's commands, revolving my entire day around her, trying to please her, endlessly tolerating her temper and coldness. But my groveling, which humbled me to the dust, only earned me vicious insults and a broken rib. Now, I was only showing her a 10,000th of the pain I had endured, and she already couldn't take it. It was truly disgusting. "Ethan, I brought you gifts. See if you like them. If not, I'll take you to buy something else." Chloe frantically pulled out several gift boxes. "This is that suit you wanted, and the roses you tried to grow, and the chestnut pastries you always used to buy." My expression was one of utter disappointment. "Chloe, this suit, it was from the first and only time you ever took me shopping. I wanted it, but you used all the money you had to buy an expensive coat for Julian. I planted roses because you liked them, and you only liked them because Julian did. And finally, Chloe, after 5 years, you still don't know I'm allergic to chestnuts?" Chloe's eyes were blank. "You're allergic to chestnuts? Why didn't you ever tell me?" "I did. On the day you proposed to me, That whole box of pastries fell on the floor. It was a shame. You could have taken them back for Ashley to eat. That one sentence felt like 1,000 cuts to Chloe's heart. Ethan was allergic to chestnuts, yet he still bought them regularly because Ashley liked them. I'm sorry. I said nothing more, gently pulled my hand from Sophia's, and walked past Chloe without another word. My mood was still low all the way to the movie theater. Sophia led me to our seats, and only then did I register what we were seeing. What movie is this? A foreign crime film about a forensic pathologist. A forensic pathologist? My curiosity was piqued, and I immediately pushed all thoughts of Chloe out of my mind and focused on the movie. In the film, the pathologist's sharp, professional demeanor left a deep impression on me. I was still thinking about it long after we left the theater. Sophia asked me with a laugh, "Fallen in love with the profession of forensic pathology?" My eyes shining, I nodded. I think it's a very special and meaningful job. I wish I could be a forensic pathologist. Ethan, you're so smart. I'm sure you could do it. But I never even finished high school. I'm worried I'm not qualified to study it. Don't worry, I'm here. Before I could process what was happening, Sophia had taken me to the DC Metropolitan Police Department. An old forensic pathologist watched me thread a needle and handle a scalpel with exceptional steadiness and praised me repeatedly, immediately wanting to take me on as his personal apprentice. I looked at Sophia in astonishment. The old pathologist noticed. "What's wrong, young man? Are you unwilling?" "I'm willing, doctor. Even though I don't know anything right now, I will work hard to learn from you. Then start tomorrow as my apprentice." Walking out of the police department, I felt like I was in a dream. Is this real? Am I still in the movie? Pinch yourself and see if you're dreaming, Sophia teased. I actually did pinch myself hard, then said with delight, "It's real. Don't worry," she continued. "Director Mason and Dr. Peterson are old friends. Just focus on learning from him. If you run into any trouble, come find me anytime." I looked at her delicate features, a sweet flutter rising in my chest. "Thank you, Sophia. I told you when we were kids that I would take care of you for a lifetime. That has never changed." My eyes reddened, and the emotions I had suppressed for years came pouring out. "Sophia, I've missed you so much." "Ethan, me too. Let's never be separated again, okay?" "Okay." The sun set, painting the sky with brilliant colors, but this beautiful sight could not penetrate the walls of the prison. Ashley brought food and clothes for Julian. Looking at the haggard man before her, she couldn't help but ask, "Why did you do it? Who told Ethan to take my place?" He deserved it. Even though he had approached the Anderson family with ill intentions, seeing Chloe with a new man drove him into a frenzy. "If I hadn't misjudged and cheated back then, there would be no Ethan Mason. He didn't take your place. You were the one who left first," Ashley said. "Julian, you've changed. You would never have done something like this before. It's not your place to lecture me. I'm quite curious, though. You act like you hate him so much. So why do you have a photo of him hidden in your room?" Ashley's face went pale. How did you know?" "What do I know? I know that on the day of the fire, you were clearly awake. Or was it that you coveted your brother-in-law and cooperated with me to drive a wedge between him and your sister?" The moment Ashley walked out of the prison, she was drenched in a cold sweat. Julian's seductive voice seemed to echo in her ear. "Ashley, our goals are the same. Why don't you work with me? When it's done, Ethan will be yours." On my first day of work, there were no cases, so Dr. Peterson gave me a few books. Medical texts are already obscure, and forensic science is even more complex. He thought I wouldn't last an hour, but to his surprise, I spent the entire morning quietly studying, filling a whole notebook with notes. Sophia came to bring me lunch at noon, and only then did I reluctantly put down my book. She laid out the dishes one by one on the table. "I made your childhood favorite sweet and sour pork ribs. Try it and see if it's good." With an expectant look, I picked up my chopsticks. It already looked delicious. Back at the Andersons, I always had to consider Chloe's and Ashley's tastes first. No one ever cared what I liked to eat. "If you like it, I'll bring you lunch every day," Sophia said. Just as I raised my chopsticks, a young officer ran in. "Comrade Mason, there's someone at the station entrance. Says she's here to bring you lunch." Sophia and I exchanged a puzzled glance and went outside. Standing at the entrance was none other than Chloe. "Ethan, I heard you started working, so I came to bring you lunch." I frowned, finding Chloe more unreasonable than ever. "No, thank you. I already have lunch." Chloe looked at Sophia, her eyes filled with open hostility. "Comrade Vance, I appreciate you looking after Ethan, but next time, please don't interfere in my and Ethan's family matters." "Chloe, what was between us was nothing more than a piece of paper." Chloe hastily interrupted. "I already know the whole truth. Ethan, were the 5 years we spent together not real? I could feel your kindness and consideration. I don't believe you have no feelings for me at all." I looked at the tall woman before me and said calmly, "I admit, I did have expectations for you before." A flicker of excitement rose in Chloe's heart. "I knew it. Ethan, I've already cut ties with Julian. I won't let him appear before you again, and I won't let him cause trouble in our home. Come home with me, Ethan. I'll give you a grand wedding." "You've misunderstood. I never loved you. That little bit of expectation was completely wiped out after you chose Julian time and time again." Chloe's eyes filled with pleading and hurt. "Ethan, don't Don't say things you don't mean. I have no feelings for Julian anymore. The one I like is you. Ashley knows she was wrong too. She wants to apologize to you in person. We all miss you. Do you miss me? Or do you miss my meticulous care and fawning? What you're missing isn't me, but an obedient servant and a watchdog. An icy wind seemed to sweep through Chloe's heart, making it hard to breathe. That's not it. My gaze became calm. Chloe, I am grateful that your mother once extended a helping hand to me. Now that debt is repaid. I have my own life to live and my own dreams to pursue. Ethan, I'm not stopping you from pursuing your dreams. After we reconcile, you can still live this life. Family and dreams can coexist. I stepped back, avoiding her advance. The Anderson house was a cage that clipped my wings. I endured it for 5 years. Let's part on good terms, Chloe. Don't make me hate you. Chloe looked as if she'd been struck by 1,000 swords. Not daring to meet my cold gaze any longer, she turned and left, completely dejected. Sophia snorted. What's the use of regretting something after you've lost it? You should have cherished it when you had it. It was rare for me to see this childish side of her, and I found it a little amusing. Sophia took my hand. I will never treat you the way she did. I believe you. With my diligent studies, in just under half a year, I was already able to assist Dr. Peterson with autopsies. When the department was short-staffed, I would also go out to crime scenes. Meanwhile, Julian was finally released from jail and staggered home. The first thing he did was check the mailbox, pulling out a pile of accumulated letters. The most recent one contained a black and white photograph. His son, Leo, had been executed due to his prolonged loss of contact. In the photo, the little boy lay in a pool of blood, his eyes closed as if crying, still clutching the toy car Julian had bought him. Julian let out a tormented howl, tears streaming down his face. Why is my life so miserable? Why doesn't Chloe want me, while Ethan gets everyone's love? It's all their fault. They killed my child. Julian stumbled to his feet and took the bottle of sulfuric acid from the cabinet. I want all of you to be buried with my son. When Ashley got home from school and pushed open the door, she was hit by the strong smell of alcohol. Ever since Chloe had returned from Washington, D.C., her spirits had completely collapsed, and she spent her days drinking to drown her sorrows. Looking at the messy house, Ashley couldn't take it anymore and burst into the master bedroom. Sis, how long are you going to be like this? Chloe looked up, her eyes glazed with drunkenness. How could he have never loved me? How could he be so heartless, just leaving like that? Ashley froze for a second, realizing Chloe was muttering about me. A surprising flicker of joy ignited in her heart. If Ethan never liked her sister, did that mean she still had a chance? After settling Chloe down, Ashley was about to go out to buy lunch when she saw an aide running towards her in a hurry. Ashley, where's the lieutenant? I have good news for her. What good news? The 2 forensic pathologists sent from DC to assist have arrived. One of them is Comrade Ethan Mason. Ashley's heart leaped. Without another word, she rushed out the door. After Dr. Peterson and I were briefed on the case, we immediately got to work. 5 hours later, I submitted the report to the criminal investigation team and walked with Dr. Peterson back to the dormitory to rest. We had just stepped out of the police station when someone called out, "Brother Ethan." I looked up to see Ashley holding a bouquet of roses. "What are you doing here? I heard you were back, so I came especially to welcome you." She smiled and held out the roses. I took a step back, not accepting them. "Thank you for the thought, but please take them back." "Excuse me, I need to walk my teacher back to his dorm." Ashley opened her mouth, looking hurt. "Brother Ethan, I waited for you all afternoon." She then cast a pitiful glance at Dr. Peterson. Dr. Peterson understood immediately and said, "Ethan, you don't need to walk me back. If you have something to attend to, go ahead." I also wanted to clear things up with Ashley, so I apologized to Dr. Peterson. "Sorry, doctor. Please be careful on your way. Go on, but be back soon. Otherwise, when Sophia asks, I'm not covering for you." I smiled as I watched Dr. Peterson leave, then turned to Ashley and said coolly, "Let's go." Ashley noted the change in my attitude and felt a surge of resentment. "Why don't you smile at me like that?" I gave her a strange look. "Who I smile at is my business. If you have a problem with it, go talk to Julian." Now, the name Julian was like a thorn in the hearts of both Chloe and Ashley, causing a sharp pain whenever it was mentioned. "I won't say it again, don't be angry." We went to a restaurant, and before the food even arrived, Ashley couldn't hold it in any longer. She pitifully described how miserable her life had been, how regretful and guilty she felt, and how she just wanted to apologize to me in person and make it up to me. I found it laughable. "Are you hoping I'll go back to the Anderson house, marry your sister, and continue to serve you hand and foot?" Ashley looked at my hand resting on the table, and with a sudden resolve, she grabbed it. "Brother Ethan, I know you don't like my sister. Marry me instead. I'll get into a good university and give you a good life." I immediately snatched my hand back, my voice rising in shock. "Ashley, are you insane? I'm not insane, Ethan. You've taken care of me for so many years. You've long been in my heart. My sister didn't cherish you, so let me love you properly instead. My skin crawled and my stomach churned. Ashley, I advise you to get rid of such thoughts. Don't cause trouble for me. If you continue to act so recklessly, I don't mind letting your sister deal with you personally. With that, I hurried towards the exit. Ashley hugged me from behind. Ethan, I'm serious about you. I love you. Before I could struggle free, a hand pulled me away. Ashley, what are you doing? Ashley's face turned deathly pale. Sis, I wasn't doing anything. Before she could finish, Chloe slapped her to the ground. Have you forgotten all sense of decency and shame? Ethan is your brother-in-law. You're not legally married, and Ethan doesn't like you, so why can't I pursue him? The rage in Chloe's heart threatened to consume her. Say that again. Sis, you can't stop my love just because you can't win Ethan back. As Chloe raised her hand to strike again, I couldn't bear it any longer and shouted, "Stop!" Chloe's eyes filled with hurt and sorrow, while Ashley's face lit up with excitement. Ethan, I knew you cared about me the most. I just felt irritated and disgusted. Chloe, Ashley, do you two really think you're such a great catch? If it wasn't to repay a debt, I would never have had anything to do with you in my life. You've already ruined 5 years of my life. Why should I throw away the rest of it on your family? You talk about loving me, but is it real love or just unwillingness to accept the loss? You know the truth in your own hearts. The two sisters stood frozen, their eyes red and filled with regret and pain. That's not it, Ethan. We truly feel sorry and want to be good to you. I cut them off coldly. I don't need it. I don't want either of you. And I have a girlfriend. I hope you won't disturb my life anymore. How could it be so fast? Is it Sophia Vance? Yes, Sophia and I have known each other since childhood. Our families arranged our engagement long ago. If it weren't for that accident, we would have been married with children by now. With that, I walked away. From a dark corner, Julian watched everything unfold, his gaze shifting between the three of us before finally settling on my departing back. If Ethan Mason disappeared, with the help of Dr. Peterson and myself, the murderer was quickly apprehended. To show his gratitude, the police chief booked a private room at a restaurant. After a few drinks, I stepped outside for some fresh air, only to run into Chloe and Ashley again. If you two keep following me, I'm reporting you. Ethan, we don't want to bother you. We just want to watch you from a distance to protect you. Your presence is the biggest danger to me. All the injuries I've suffered in my life were caused by you. Both of them simultaneously recalled the things they had done to me in the past. Just as I was about to turn back, I heard frantic footsteps. A snarling, crazed Julian was charging at me, holding a bottle. Chloe and Ashley both lunged towards me at the same time. Ethan, look out. All of you, go to hell. An unknown liquid was about to be thrown at me when, the next moment, a gunshot echoed through the air. A bleeding hole appeared in Julian's elbow. He screamed as some of the liquid from the bottle spilled onto him. The intense pain sent him into convulsions on the ground. It hurts. Chloe, save me. Dr. Peterson and my colleagues from the station rushed out. It's sulfuric acid. Get him to the hospital quickly, or he'll die. I was frozen with shock, only coming to my senses when Sophia ran over and threw her arms around me. Sophia, he tried to kill me. Ethan, I'm here. No one can hurt you. Thank God you came. Chloe and Ashley exchanged a look, seeing the bitter disappointment in each other's eyes. Chloe tugged on Ashley's arm. Let's go. But Ashley kept staring at Sophia, a trace of unwillingness still in her heart. Julian's life was saved by emergency treatment, but his face was destroyed by the acid. Unable to accept his appearance, he spent his days in the hospital room screaming like a madman. It's not my fault. Why is fate so unfair to me? My child was so young, and he died because of them. I'll make the whole world pay for my son. Sophia and I stood outside his room, listening to his incoherent rambling, completely baffled. He has a child? Not that I know of, Sophia said, but he did live in the US for 5 years. Is it possible he got married and had a child there? That bastard. My father stared at the telegram Sophia had sent overnight. It clearly detailed how Julian had harmed me, as well as his activities in the United States. Years ago, when he went abroad to study, he had fallen in love with a female American soldier within 6 months, marrying her and having a child. However, as tensions between the two countries grew, the American woman began to resent him, not only verbally abusing him but also physically beating him. Just when he thought he would never escape, American intelligence approached him, ordering him to return to his home country and steal military secrets for them. His wife, for the sake of her own career, threatened Julian with their infant son. If he didn't agree, she would throw the child from the balcony and then beat Julian to death. Julian had no choice but to agree. After returning to the country, he set his sights on Chloe and successfully stole and handed over some intelligence. David Mason slammed his hand on the desk. Immediately detain all related personnel for investigation. At the Southwest Military Region Training Ground, Chloe had just finished her morning drills when a squad of soldiers suddenly surrounded her. "What are you doing?" "Lieutenant Chloe Anderson, you are implicated in an espionage case. The National Security Bureau needs to conduct a full investigation. Please cooperate." "Comrade Vance, I have never done anything to betray my country. This is slander." The commander's voice came from behind her. "Whether it's slander or not, the National Security Bureau will find out after their investigation." Chloe turned to him, panicked. "Commander, you know my character. How could I possibly do something like this? I told you long ago to handle your personal relationships properly, but you never listened. This is your own doing. If you have any sense of a soldier's duty left, cooperate with the investigation and mitigate the damage." Chloe stood stunned, unable to respond as two soldiers stepped forward and escorted her into a police vehicle. I was silent for a long time after hearing the news. "Does Mrs. Anderson know about this?" "Director Anderson is on an overseas mission and won't be back for another month." When Chloe learned that Julian was a spy, it was as if all the life had been drained from her. She didn't eat or drink for 2 days. When I came to bring her food, I saw a woman who had aged years. "Ethan, why are you here?" I set out the food, all dishes she used to love. Tears welled up in Chloe's eyes. I comforted her. "You weren't the main culprit, and you didn't intentionally leak secrets. The country will handle this justly. But once you're associated with a foreign spy, your life is over." I looked at her and, unable to stop myself, offered encouragement. "Chloe, even if you can't stay in the military, there are other paths. Only when you're dead is everything truly lost." Hot tears streamed from Chloe's eyes as she began to shovel food into her mouth. "Thank you." The espionage case not only affected Chloe but also had repercussions for Ashley. She had been a shoo-in for Georgetown University, but she failed the political background check because of the scandal. The moment Ashley heard the news, she nearly had a breakdown and tried to jump into the river, only to be stopped by her teacher just in time. Returning home, she slammed and locked the door before sinking to the floor, crying helplessly. In her daze, she seemed to hear a familiar, gentle voice. I was walking over with a steaming dish, smiling and telling her not to cry. "Didn't your sister say that girls need to be independent and strong? Wipe your face and come eat." I held out my hand to her. She stared at it, wanting to grab it, but her hand closed on empty air. When she came to her senses, the house was dark and cold. There was no food and there was no me. Ashley ran back to her room and pulled out that photograph, staring at the face on it with a mixture of obsession and infatuation. "As long as I bring Ethan home, everything will go back to normal. Our family will be together forever." When Sophia got home from work, she found me busy in the kitchen. She walked up and quietly hugged me from behind. "What smells so good?" I turned my head to nuzzle her cheek. "You're back. You and Dad have been so busy lately, so I made some chicken soup for you both, and the steamed ribs you were craving yesterday. It would be such a blessing to marry you," she murmured. I paused, then laughed, a little embarrassed. Such a smooth talker. Sophia's eyes were filled with love as she looked at me. "Ethan, let's get married officially." A week later, everyone at the police department knew that Sophia and I, longtime sweethearts, were finally tying the knot. With a little push from my father, the administration quickly approved our marriage application. I took a small, exquisite box from my pocket and got down on one knee. "Sophia, they say in the movies that if you want to marry the girl you love, you have to propose first." I opened the small box, revealing a ring that sparkled brilliantly. "Sophia, I hope to love you for a lifetime and grow old with you. Will you marry me?" Tears streamed from Sophia's eyes as she choked out, "I will." I slid the ring onto her finger. "Silly girl, what are you crying for? You should be happy." Sophia laughed through her tears. Our wedding was set for the beginning of next month. Sophia used all her savings to book a hotel and buy a wedding dress, and a steady stream of dowry gifts arrived at the Mason family's door. The day before the wedding, Sophia drove me to the cemetery. Sophia's parents and my mother had all been moved and reinterred here. We came specifically to share our happy news with our elders. I poured a libation of wine onto the ground. "Mom, I'm so glad you had the foresight to arrange such a wonderful daughter-in-law for me and Sophia. Your son is eternally grateful. Mom, I'm about to marry the girl I love. I know you must be happy for me in heaven." In a daze, I thought I could really see my mother, looking down at us with a touched expression. We didn't leave the cemetery until evening. Sophia thoughtfully took over the driving. "You get some sleep. I'll wake you when we get home. I'm not tired. I'll keep you company. This all feels like a dream." I leaned over and kissed her on the cheek. "How about now? Still feel like a dream?" Sophia's eyes crinkled as she was about to reply, when a car suddenly shot out from a side road. In the flash of headlights, I saw Ashley's twisted, jungling face. Before I could react, Sophia threw herself at me, pulling me into a tight embrace. Our car was hit and flipped over, skidding several meters. "Call the police. There's so much blood. Saving them is the priority. Get everyone out of the car." Dizzy and disoriented, I was pulled out by a kind stranger. But Sophia, who had shielded me from the impact, lay motionless inside the car. I struggled to crawl towards her. Sophia, no, wake up. But no matter how many times I called her name, she didn't respond. An immense wave of despair and grief washed over me, and I passed out beside her. The perpetrator of this malicious crash, Ashley Anderson, died before the paramedics arrived. Her body lay in the morgue for 10 days before it was claimed by a newly released Chloe. On that rainy DC day, she came to Sophia's hospital room and looked at me. Ethan, are you okay? Thanks to Sophia's protection, I only sustained minor injuries. But Sophia suffered multiple kidney ruptures and massive internal bleeding. In just 10 days, she was rushed into emergency surgery 5 times. Critical condition notices were handed to me one after another. I looked up, my eyes devoid of hatred or sadness, as if I were just an empty shell sitting before Chloe. I don't want to see you. The person who caused Sophia's coma is already dead, but I can't not hold you responsible. I know, Ethan. I just wanted to say sorry on her behalf. I looked at Sophia's sleeping face. I will never forgive her, not in this life or the next. Chloe walked out of the hospital carrying an urn. I took an extended leave of absence to stay at the hospital and care for Sophia, holding her hand and telling her stories from our childhood. When we were little, Sophia was very mischievous. She hated having her hair tied up and would always secretly cut it short with scissors. So, her mother finally just shaved her head. That winter, everyone in the village saw Sophia with her little head, red from the cold. The other kids teased me, saying I was going to marry a little nun. In a fit of anger, I told her, Sophia, if you don't grow your hair long, I won't marry you. Sophia's eyelashes fluttered, and she slowly opened her eyes, continuing the story in a weak voice. Every time you threatened me with that, I didn't dare to disobey. From that day on, I never cut my hair short again. I froze, and tears began to fall before my brain could even process it. I squeezed her hand tightly. Sophia, if you don't wake up, I'm not going to marry you. I know, she whispered. That's why I woke up to marry you. After waking from the coma, Sophia's body recovered at a visible pace. After half a month, she could already sit up and read. I returned to work at the police department, only coming by at noon and in the evening with soup. Sophia was even strong enough to joke again. I drink chicken soup every day now. I feel like I'm in postpartum confinement. A colleague from the department who was visiting chimed in, "You have no idea. During those first few days when you were in critical condition, Ethan didn't sleep at all. He was terrified that if he closed his eyes, he'd hear that your heart had stopped." I recalled those heart-stopping days, and my gaze fell. Sophia squeezed my hand, her eyes full of heartache and self-blame. "I made you worry. If you hadn't thrown yourself in front of me, I would be the one lying in this hospital bed. I'm the one who should be thanking you, Sophia." Sophia intertwined her fingers with mine. "Ethan, ever since that flood washed you from my grasp when we were children, I swore that if I ever found you again, I would never let go of your hand. So even if I had to go to hell and back, I would have crawled my way back to your side." By the time Sophia was discharged from the hospital, it was the height of summer. Georgetown University had added a forensic science program and invited me to be a guest lecturer, requiring me to teach 3 classes a week. Sophia came to pick me up at the university gates, standing out conspicuously among the bustling students. Finally, the bell rang for the end of class. I walked out, surrounded by students. The warm sunlight fell on me, making me shine in a way that made it hard to look away. "Ethan," I was talking with students, but when I heard Sophia call my name, a smile instinctively appeared on my face. "Sophia, you're here." We were both strikingly good-looking, and the students found us to be a very pleasing sight together. "Professor Mason, when are you and Secretary Vance getting married?" a student asked. I blinked, unsure how to answer. Our original wedding had been canceled due to the accident, and now, half a year later, I wasn't sure if we should still hold one. "Look what I have here." Sophia laughed softly and, like a magician, produced several packets of wedding candy and invitations. The students eagerly snatched them up. "Professor Mason, Secretary Vance, will definitely be there to give you our blessings." The surprise on my face was no less than the students. "What is all this?" "It's for our wedding, of course." "When did you secretly prepare all this? You kept it hidden so well." I pinched her cheek, pretending to interrogate her. "Confess and you'll be treated leniently. Resist and you'll be dealt with severely." "All right, Professor Mason, I surrender." It turned out that Sophia had started planning the wedding even before she was discharged from the hospital. She felt bad that I was running back and forth between the hospital and the police department, so she didn't tell me, wanting it to be a surprise. After so long, I finally put on that pure white suit. We had the grandest wedding and the most solemn ceremony. That day, as the wedding car drove down the street, crowds of well-wishers lined both sides. Amidst the flying wedding candies, I heard countless sincere wishes of happy wedding. The car stopped at the restaurant entrance. I strode forward and stood tall in the spotlight. The piano began to play, and Sophia, in a beautiful wedding gown, walked towards me step by step. My father took both our hands. "Sophia, you are my most prized junior. You have both suffered a great deal. Now, this blessing has come from misfortune. You must love each other in the future and not let your old dad worry." I wanted to smile, but tears stubbornly slid down my cheeks. Sophia said earnestly, "Dad, don't worry. I have been preparing to be Ethan's wife for a very, very long time. Amidst the blessings of everyone present, Sophia and I drank from the ceremonial cups. Ethan, I love you. I love you too, Sophia. 5 years later, Sophia and I had a child, a daughter we named Nora. After Dr. Peterson retired, I became the pillar of the forensic department at the DC Police. Any out-of-state support missions fell to me first. Now, it was another case in the Southwest region. As much as I didn't want to set foot there again, work came first. But I never expected that this time, the deceased would be an old acquaintance. It was the first time I had seen Chloe from this perspective. I was surprised at how much of a stranger she had become in just 5 short years. A month ago, the police had located a criminal hideout. To avoid alerting them, they planned to plant an undercover agent. Chloe, using her old connections, had recommended herself to the chief. She carried out the month-long mission with the outstanding quality of a soldier, but at the last moment, she exposed her identity to save a comrade and suffered insane retaliation from the desperate criminals. Until the very end, she maintained the backbone of a soldier, never showing a hint of weakness. I was moved after hearing the story. No matter what grievances I had with Chloe in the past, I had to admit that she was a qualified soldier. I took a step back, gave a slight bow towards Chloe on the autopsy table, and then began my work. Through my careful and professional work, I successfully found a key clue that was crucial for the police in tracking down the fugitive criminals. After work, I somehow found myself wandering to the Andersons' old house. The house I had lived in for 5 years was now dilapidated beyond recognition. I gently pushed open the door and went inside. It was filled with dust and cobwebs. All the furniture was just as I had left it. I walked into the master bedroom and saw a letter on the desk. The envelope neatly read, "To Ethan Mason." I picked it up in disbelief. Inside were just a few short sentences, revised 3 or 4 times, finally ending with, "Ethan, I wish you eternal happiness." In the envelope, there was also a green jade ring. I knew it was the closest match she could find. Thank you, Chloe. I didn't return to DC until after Chloe's burial. I left the ring in her urn. I didn't take it back with me. The grudges of the past, along with the departures of Julian, Ashley, and Chloe, had all dissipated into thin air. I had finally and completely let go of the past. The moment I stepped out of the train station, a chubby little girl launched herself into my arms like a small cannonball. "Daddy, I missed you so much." I hugged her tightly. Sophia followed right behind, taking my hand. "Ethan, I heard about what happened with Chloe." I looked at her and smiled. "Don't worry, I'm okay." Seeing my expression, Sophia gave a knowing smile and led us towards home. Another spring arrived. I held Sophia's hand in one of mine and Nora's in the other, feeling the gentle passage of time and the quiet beauty of the years. Perhaps tomorrow would be a fine day too.